Well, hello again, everybody. This is John Norris at Trading Perspectives. As always, we have our good friends, Sam Clement and Courtney Trush. Y'all say hello.
How's it going?
Hey, John.
Hey, guys. Listen, I mean, if you follow any sort of social media news, do any sort of social media of your own, there's really good likelihood that perhaps you know a little something about what I would call the Twitter saga that's been going on. Some months ago, famed South African-born American businessman Elon Musk offered to buy the company for $54.20 a share, if I'm not mistaken, which would have valued the company at around $44 billion. Although, Sam, Courtney, I would say that looked like a pretty sweetheart deal for Twitter at the time, given how, in my estimation, the company has arguably been run over the last, since its inception, for all intents and purposes. Mm-hmm. And please make note that we are not a maker in Twitter stock. We're not a significant buyer of it, and I don't buy, and I don't have any direct one. So, when we sit here taking a look at it, you kind of had to wonder what was Elon Musk either thinking or smoking, as he is wont to do, and whether or not here we are now. He tried to get out of it, I think, when his head cleared, and now here we are in the 11th hour, I'd say, Sam. The deal's back on?
Deal's back on.
Well, and he said he sent a letter notifying them that he now wants to purchase.
Yeah, just reconfirming his
Yeah, and
original.
I'm like, is that even necessary? I mean, I guess it's like just the formality of it.
It was, since he was trying to get out of it. So he's dropping his.
I mean, really, the only thing I can think of.
Because he knew he wasn't going to get out of it, so now he's just trying to save face.
I think that's probably it.
Had a deposition coming on Thursday that, I think he knew where the chips were falling. And pretty much since he started backing out of it, any kind of reputable source was saying, I don't see how he's going to do this. I don't see how he's going to get out of this. I mean, the deal seemed pretty ironclad. If you read what the Twitter lawyers were saying, I mean, they all felt pretty confident that they were going to get this deal done. And you're right, it did seem like a good deal, especially with the environment going on back in, April, I think, when it first happened.
Yeah.
And the price is at a level above where it's traded for pretty much like 80-90%. I mean, outside of the
listen,
the
it seemed like a sweetheart deal for the company. Although the staffers there probably would not have thought that due to the very different corporate culture the company currently has and what it will likely have after Musk takes it private. But you also have to remember the founder of the company, Jack Dorsey, resigned sort of mysteriously or for whatever reason, no one's head scratching, but in late last year. Mm-hmm. And the new CEO kind of came in and just like, what in the world do I have here? And just had a little bit of a mess. So the offer at $420, obviously, that for $54.20 came at a really good time for Twitter, seeing that their ad revenue had stagnated, as it had really for social media as a whole, and you have a young CEO that's trying to figure out what to do with this company that's underperforming. So I understand why Twitter's lawyers are like going, nah, bud, we're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to do this. And ultimately, I think Musk attorneys advised him, we're going to do this.
And part of, Musk sees the value, I think, in a platform like Twitter, whether it's Twitter or not, a platform that it's a news source for people who want news. It's a social media for people who want social media. And it really is, I think, to a lot of people, the best sort of outlet for it. It's different than an Instagram or a TikTok. I mean, it seems it can be a lot weightier, have a lot more meat to it. And I think he sees the value in what something like that could be. And I think that was probably the, original, maker of why he wanted to go after it.
Now, Sam, you use Twitter quite a bit, right?
I love Twitter, yeah.
And Courtney, do you have a Twitter account?
I do, but I do not use it, nor do I remember my password to even log in.
Well, there you have it. I don't have an account. I got rid of it. I think I did. It's hard to, once you get on one of these platforms, it's really kind of like Hotel California. You can check in, but you can never leave. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Never check out.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So why don't you use Twitter?
Well, the only reason I got on Twitter was
for the Queen.
No, I don't even want to tell y'all.
I think we've discussed this before.
We have.
I just want you to admit it again.
Yes, okay. So it was the birth, I think, of William and Kate's.
I knew it was something.
Yeah, but like all of the.
Don't act like you don't know the
exact
names. Come
day
on.
I don't know.
Could it have been Prince George?
Yes, it was George, and then Charlotte, and then Louis.
Well, there you go.
And they would announce it on Twitter, so that's why I got on Twitter, so that I would be in the know.
Well, there you have it. So you'd be one of the first ones to know,
Yes.
along with the hundreds of millions and billions of people
Right.
out there. So, did your decision to open up a Twitter account have any sort of bearing? I mean, understanding your love for the royal family, and Sam, you probably know where I'm going next. To purchase a $65 teacup when you were actually over in London.
Well, it was 65 pounds. Even better, right, John?
Yeah, I'm glad it weighed that much that you got something so
Yeah.
substantial for the
Yeah.
amount of money that you have there.
It's worth a lot more now. That's all I have to say.
So you don't use it. You're not using Twitter as much frequently
No.
now, due to the fact that it looks as though William and Kate are not going to be having any more children. Is that the
Correct.
primary reason?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the reason why I quit using Twitter, reason why I quit using Twitter, Sam, I think I might have told you, is it just really personally, my personal account. You know, we did have the corporate account for Trading Perspectives, but my personal account was. It didn't make me happy. I mean, that's the whole deal because, you know, they have these bots. That's the only thing I can think of. These anonymous people, or even the algorithms or whatnot, sending out just hateful tweets whenever you post something. The sky is blue. Says you. I mean, just all
yeah.
this type of stuff. And it got to be, I'm not sitting there saying I need people's approval all the time, but I do.
Well, you also don't want to have someone just like verbally abusing you for no
I-
reason. Like,
it's
what
just-
did I do to you?
Yeah.
But I think, why I like Twitter, I don't use Twitter as a social media.
Like a platform?
I don't post. I don't think I've posted in years. Like I don't use it as that. I use it as
Is
like
it-
an information source, and it's very
You got
tailored.
got the links to the news sites
Yeah,
and all that
I mean,
stuff.
I remember I took a break from social media, and this was a few years ago. I think.
How did that feel?
Well, it was fine, like for other social media platforms, but when we launched a missile at Iran, I think a couple years ago, and killed Soleimani, I think it was. I remember I turned on the news to watch it because I didn't have Twitter, and nobody was talking about it yet. And I was like, I have to, like, this is massive news. I need to see what's going on with it. I log on to Twitter. I know everything that's happened about it in about 30 seconds, and it took about 30 minutes plus for it to go onto the news. So
Because at that time, Twitter was deemed reputable, that it was not necessarily controlled.
That's the
It's
first place.
real time
it's
people-
real
Real time,
Yeah.
yeah. So now I feel like, especially with Elon Musk maybe privatizing this, not putting restrictions on the credibility of what people are putting out there, I wonder if that thought process of going to Twitter has changed. I know, like
I don't think it
Reddit,
has.
people love Reddit. Like that's like
I
the
think
go-to.
Reddit's a cancer, but I mean Twitter.
Okay.
Tell us how you really feel,
okay.
Sam.
You throw that out there. Please explain.
I just think it's it's hive mentality times 10 of what I think the issue is on Twitter.
Okay, all right. Now, in terms of Twitter, Courtney, you mentioned something about, if Musk takes this private, where he's just not going to pay attention to the credibility of the people that are posting.
Well, I mean, he said he would let former President Trump back on because he was banned from Twitter.
Well, I think what a better way of maybe putting that is they are not going to have the same restrictions on speech as the current company does.
Right.
Because I got put in the box, we got put in the box, the penalty box, for making comments about Bernie Sanders' economic policy decision making, which we think is flawed. But Twitter didn't like that we were so political with our thoughts on that. So I think that's probably good for the company. And let's face it, Trump drove a lot of people to Twitter, as boorish as the man can be. People would get on Twitter just to see what he was going to tweet next.
Because that was his direct source. It wasn't
Yeah.
like he had a communications director type up a tweet and edit it and go through all these channels.
Which I
mean,
think we all wish he did have.
Yes, exactly.
I kind of like that he did it.
I know, but like
Not
that
from a political
was-
point, just the most powerful person in the world,
Has nothing
Just,
better
yeah,
to
getting
do at this
mad.
time.
Yeah.
sleepy tweeting with tons of typos and
Yeah,
just
exactly. The typos.
Fifi and all that.
Nothing better to do than to diss some
Yeah.
second-rate journalist
Yeah.
at the WAPO.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he just can't let things go. Isn't he the first president or wasn't he the first president to be able to have like a cell phone or like a Twitter account on his own?
Well, I think he.
Because wasn't it normally like they hand everything over?
Well, the thing is, Twitter hadn't even been around for that long. So Washington, I know, did not have a Twitter handle.
I don't think Lincoln did.
No, Lincoln didn't either. Nor neither of the Roosevelts.
guys.
Reagan or FDR.
All that
Yeah.
stuff. So
I'm so glad
Reagan
you
may
clarified
have.
this.
You're kind of
Yeah.
giving us a stink eye, and I don't really understand why.
You don't. You don't.
No.
Okay.
No, so Obama would have been the first president for all
Glad
intents and
Clinton
purposes.
didn't. That could have been
Oh,
gnarly.
boy, I tell you. But
Gnarly.
I called you the Valley Girl a couple of weeks ago. You got Valley dude over here.
Oh, I get it.
No, I guess the
why
first one would have been Obama.
So, but I thought he handed his.
I thought he had a Twitter account.
Did he?
Maybe. I mean,
That he managed? Like, I highly doubt it.
No, he was a little bit too shrewd for that type of stuff. You can say what you want about his policies, but he's a pretty slick dude. And also probably not quite as narcissistic as the
No,
most
I don't
recent
think so at
previous
all.
president. So I think putting Trump back on the platform will drive additional people back onto the platform. I also think maybe not having the same sort of, I would say sort of lack of standardized policies regarding free speech, or just arbitrary in some regards.
I mean, to me, I think the biggest thing is, as a big believer in like a platform like Twitter, and so Twitter itself, as of right now, they have had an awfully hard time of trying to monetize. Probably, I mean, in my opinion, the best social media platform there is. And so you see someone like Musk who's gone in and created these companies and been profitable from like 3, 4, 5, several. I mean, he's had several different companies worth over $1 billion. He has almost a Midas touch, and so he sees, okay, it's been 10 plus years, they haven't been able to turn really a profit at all. If I do this, and this, in a few months we can start ginning money. It's his thought.
Yeah, he just tweeted Tuesday night, buying Twitter is an accelerant to creating X, the everything app.
Yeah.
If there's anyone right now that could do that, it would be him. It's easy for me to say.
As for the news, not the weather, Jack.
That's just really a little bit of drinking problem with my iced tea.
I mean, that's the way everyone's
Thank you,
trying to
Courtney.
go with technology and social media platforms, is to have kind of one platform where you can do everything. I mean, Instagram's done it with, now you can shop through Instagram. I mean,
I think Courtney buys cups on their Instagram account.
the Stanley Cup.
Yes, I mean, it's amazing, and I am such a sucker for all of it. Just make my life easier. Okay, I like that. Yep. Okay, you click one button, buy now. Your credit card's already loaded to your phone.
That sounds dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
How many of those cups do you have?
Oh, I only have 2 of those cups.
Okay. You led
That's
us
not
to believe that you had more, didn't you?
I thought so.
Yeah,
Oh
so
no,
it's
I've
like
bought
5.
a lot more than that. Like I buy them for gifts because people love them.
Speaking of gifts, going back to a previous podcast when Courtney
nothing.
Trust visited the United Kingdom and said that she bought a lot of souvenirs, and yet and yet
I don't have any time to go shopping, let alone.
okay. All right,
Remember that.
I guess we should just be expecting something nice and British in our Christmas stockings.
Yes.
I'm
from
expecting
Courtney.
that.
I'm expecting that
Well,
too.
now that gives me check. I have something I can give you all for Christmas.
Awesome. I don't want the teacup.
You're not getting the teacup.
Well,
for
there you
sure.
go. But going back to Twitter, I'll be interesting to see whether or not, if Musk can come in there, change sort of the free speech aspect of it, kind of clean up the platform from all these bots and anonymous accounts, fake accounts, and do this type of stuff where it does get to what you're talking about, a legitimate sort of social media news feed where you can do everything like that. Just how many more people like myself will say, okay, I'll go back on. And when that happens, it's that question of, how do you monetize it? How do you get people to pay for a premium service, more than likely? Get big business, and get businesses to pay for sort of enterprise
Advertising. Yeah. Yep.
systems, all that
Thousands
stuff.
a month they'll pay for it.
And then have more effective banners and in-tweet sort of advertisements. Certain podcasts certainly will interrupt and have a little ad. All the sponsored reels and whatnot you have on Instagram, someone's paying for that. And I tell you what a fatso I am. All of the sponsored content that comes down on my Instagram account are people cooking stuff. I mean, it's just, trending food recipe in China and all of this. And so that's what I get. And so if Twitter can do this type of stuff, the sponsored content, more of that, there's no reason to think that he can't turn what now looks like a bad investment at the premium that he's paying for it into a very good investment, but it's going to take more than 12 months.
Yeah, and you kind of almost want, though, if you're buying a company, you want to see some bloat in it. You want to see areas like some fat you can trim off of it. And I think he's almost excited about, you see all these articles of people saying they're going to leave if Elon Musk buys Twitter, and he goes, he's probably thinking, awesome.
Yeah.
He's buying the technology. He's not buying the people.
Right. He doesn't want. He's come out and said how bloated he thinks the company is, and that he would fire a ton of staff. He's going to fire Prague. I mean, he's going to fire essentially all the executives, most likely.
Well, I'm pretty certain in the period of time that he announced them, all that stuff might have worked in some additional options and restricted shares. I think. Your thoughts?
Sure. Yeah.
That's just the way people in the C-suite do it, Courtney.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
so okay, we talked about a little bit about my social media usage. Yours, Courtney, we know you use Instagram. What about TikTok? Do you ever use the TikTok and all that stuff? Do you use it?
No,
TikTok.
I've never used it.
You're really just kind of a Twitter guy.
Yeah.
Do you have a LinkedIn account?
Yeah, I mean, but I don't consider that social media.
I don't really either.
I don't even get on it, really.
Well, I get on it every day, about 4 or 5 times a day.
Really?
But I use it.
On LinkedIn?
Yeah. Man, I'm out there all the time. I've got like 2,000.
You like posting stuff?
Sometimes, once or twice a week.
Poke people like the old Facebook?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I do remember when you...
Facebook pokes?
Yeah, you used to poke. You could poke people
I don't remember that.
before your time.
Well, how could it be?
Before you got on Facebook. Before they let people that weren't in college on Facebook.
Well, I told you I got onto Facebook a long time ago. That's back when The Walking Dead first came out. Because they had all that zombie stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, no, but I guess currently Instagram and LinkedIn are the only social media platforms I've used with any regularity.
I don't really use Instagram.
I think it's good. I feel like TikTok is, slippery slope. You can get TikTok through Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, but in all the reels or the feeds, when you can watch the videos, I mean, that's where it's like a time suck where you really feel, and I could definitely, even from my personal experience, I know we've talked about this before, but, you spend 30 minutes doing that and you feel like you've wasted 30 minutes of your life, it just makes you depressed. I know.
You'll never get that back.
Yeah, and I wonder how Elon Musk might change Twitter, because Twitter does have a unique platform.
I think he's talked about the attractiveness of that,
the video,
monetizing it to influencers or whoever to incentivize people like that because that seems to be a relatively untapped part of what Twitter is. I mean, I use it for sports and news, sports and finance really. I'd say it's 80 for me. It's 80% finance and like 20% sports, and because that's pretty much all I go on there to hear or read about. But
well, I got to tell you, I mean, you've heard of Axios, the website or the news outlet that focuses primarily on technology. There's a guy named Scott Rosenberg's recent article in it about what Elon Musk is going to have to do. Musk Twitter to-do list. First one is free speech. Musk has said Twitter should enforce fewer rules about speech and let users say anything that is not explicitly outlawed by their governments. Good or bad?
I'd say it's good.
And then Donald Trump.
Well, does that are they at least screening for profanity? Or vulgar?
I'm sure that they'll have something like that.
Okay.
I mean, kind of similar to what Instagram has, I would say.
Yeah. Then Donald Trump. You have to come to grips with Donald Trump, love him or hate him. He does drive people onto the platform, so they'll probably figure out some way to get him on there,
including you,
and sanitize it. Well, I don't know about all that. You're just a fun. Business. Big social media platforms typically start with meteoric growth and then build massive revenue streams with fat profit margins. Twitter's never been able to figure that out.
Yep.
So it's going to have to figure that out. Technical work. It's just going to have to deal with all the fake bots and the...
I think that's the biggest issue that turns a lot of people off.
Yeah. The phony accounts. You really have to come down to it. And then staffing, we've already mentioned that Musk has made no secret of the fact that he feels as though the company is bloated with redundancies.
Yep.
Well, and for all those people, you would think that they would be able to address some of those other issues that you've mentioned, but it was just not a focus, I guess, of the company.
I think it's getting rid of a lot of those people.
It's getting rid of a lot of people. I mean, it's, And then obviously when you're some dude making 100K or whatever, more than that in San Francisco or whatnot, and you probably got a pretty good feeling. Spent a lot of time not doing a whole bunch of anything around here or playing ping pong or all that stuff.
Yeah.
You're probably going, I hate what I'm hearing out of Musk because, one, I'm either going to have to work a lot harder, or two, I'm out of my can. Either is a change in my lifestyle, which I don't necessarily want.
What I think is interesting about the timing of this finally going through is the labor market and those sort of sectors of the economy. We've seen a lot of these big tech companies that I put Twitter into that category. I mean, Facebook was one recently coming out saying they're going to kind of restructure and be more, focused, trim some of the fat that we have. Hopefully not fire people, but, kind of reorganize where people are.
What trim the fat is code for
Yeah.
firing people.
Right. But so if you're in a time
right-sizing?
Right-sizing, where companies in your same sort of category aren't probably going out and hiring a ton of people, for you to say, I'm going to quit if Elon Musk, probably not the best time for that.
Probably not going to do it either. I think a lot of people saying they're going to quit because someone buys a company are sort of like the Baldwins, who Baldwin family claim they're always going to move away from the country.
Yeah.
Thus and so happens, and yet I still see them living here.
Yeah.
And I think very similar type stuff like that when people threaten to quit or all that stuff, they don't mean it.
Yeah, so the headquarters is in California. Are there any laws in California that would make it difficult to fire a lot of people?
I think Elon has, I think, plenty of practice, and with his other companies being based out of California.
I am certain that there are some HR rules and restrictions, some labor laws in California with which I am not familiar, but ultimately the labor laws in the United States are much more lax than they are in Europe, so he should be able to go in there and right size. So it'll be some upfront money as you do severance packages and all that stuff, but the trend line will be undoubtedly to a leaner, meaner, not necessarily, I mean, meaner in a good sense, if it can be such a thing. Leaner, meaner company that is a little bit more focused on profit, which maybe Jack Dorsey did not instill that culture in the company.
Yep, I agree.
About how many employees do you think they have?
You're on the magic box right now. Can you tell? I personally don't know.
It says more than 7,000 worldwide.
That's a lot.
It's a lot,
especially when you start dividing it by the amount of earnings or revenue or any sort of financial target.
So as of July 27, 2022, they said that they employed 7,500 people.
That takes that number down to about 5,000 after Musk gets in there, I think.
Yeah.
And still be able to deliver the service.
Yeah, and they said that it was up 2,000 employees from the year prior.
All right.
So interesting.
And maybe get rid of that person that didn't like my comments about Bernie Sanders' economic policies.
Maybe they're pushing their own agenda.
Well, there you go. Well, I think that's part of the problem that Musk wants to address. Well, guys, thank you all so much for listening. We always love to hear from you, y'all. So if you have any comments or questions, please, by all means, let us know. You can always drop us a line at tradingperspectives@oakworth.com, where you can leave us a review on the podcast outlet of your choice. As always, if you're interested in reading more, hearing more of what we have to say or how we think, by all means, please go to oakworth.com, take a look underneath the Thought Leadership tab and find all kinds of exciting information. That's going to give you a last chance to have one last word on this hot topic.
That's all I got.
That's it, John.
That's all I've got today, too. Y'all take care.